Hi everyone, welcome to our analysis about the movie The Talented Mr. Ripley. Our intention is to show you some aspects that you've never noticed before in the movie, so you guys can go like, it took a lot of our time to make this video, so we hope you enjoy it. So, the story follows the life of a young man called Tom Ripley, played by Matt Damon, who has been sent to Europe to go after Dickie Greenleaf, played by Jude Law, to get him to come back to America on his father's orders. So Ripley goes to Italy and meets Dickie and his fiancée Marge, played by Gwyneth Paltrow, under the false image that he knows them, so Ripley has a way of talking them into coming to America. Dickie says that he doesn't remember him from college as Ripley states, but he also says that he doesn't remember a lot from back then, so they start hanging out together as old friends. Everything was working out just fine for Ripley, and he was having lots and lots of fun with his new lifestyle, and nobody suspected anything. But right after half of the movie, things started going down. It's when the movie really showed its plot. It's when Tom becomes Dickie Greenleaf because he killed the real Dickie, and that's the way he chose to follow so people wouldn't find out that he murdered Dickie Greenleaf.
Starting with the two main characters, we can establish a dualistic analysis. In the relationship between the two, we can see a conflict between two different personalities. On one side, we have Tom, who is a responsible, dedicated, and educated guy. And in the other side, we have Dickie, who is rich, doesn't have to work and strive because he has everything he wants. This opposition between the two characters also ends up being a source of fights and discordance that happens between them, leading one of them to kill the other.
The theme about the characters ends up covering much more than what has already been said. Ripley's trajectory is an example of this. He starts the film well, but then he loses control of himself, putting himself in bad situations, like killing a person in Europe, have a fight with Dickie, and even passing by him, getting his house, and etc. Making a psychological analysis of the character, we see that he ends up getting psychologically disturbed, presented in a certain paranoia towards Dickie. Tom Ripley is a complex character and he only shows what is on the surface.
These psychological problems are also a reflection of the loneliness that Tom lives by watching Dickie and his wife enjoy life in the best way, and he simply likes another person in the middle of the two. This loneliness in the film ends up being well represented by the soundtrack, which shows the sonority that Tom lives alone. The song that plays in the background helps set this atmosphere of how he has no one, that he is lonely. An example of this is the scene at the end of the film in which Ripley admits to Peter that he has been other people, that he pretended to be, he was taking other people's identities.
Looking to one more technical aspect about the film, we can see that framing is very well used during the whole film, a technique that intends to guide the viewer to get his own conclusions. They will focus the camera on something very specific, drawing attention to it, and then will cause the viewer to notice something that he probably wouldn't notice. One example of this is that when the lover of Dickie Greenleaf dies, the camera goes immediately to Jude Law's face, and we can see that the character is in some kind of pain.
Another example that framing was a huge part in it is a scene between Tom and Dickie, and there is a build-up of elements that helps the full understanding in the scene. Greenleaf is in the bath playing chess with Ripley, and they are also talking. It's possible to see that the lighting is very dim because there are candles lit, creating an atmosphere of coziness and romantic. During the whole scene, a soft and smooth music is playing on the background, adding more coziness to the atmosphere. But it's through the framing that we get what the director intended to pass to the viewer. A subtle hint that Ripley has some feelings towards Dickie, where the camera focuses a lot on the eyes of Tom and then right after focus on a body part very specific of Greenleaf. And this, combined with the score and setting, It makes the viewer get some ideas about what is happening, without the need of something explicit, without the need of actions and dialogue to explain what is happening with the scene. By using these elements, the director passed to the viewer what he was intending to the scene.
The acting, as in every film, is very important and in because these films deal sometimes with psychological problems. The performance of the actor can have great influence on the development of the movie. Matt Damon then brings out to life the character of Tom Ripley very well, representing all of its complexity, showing in times how the personality of Ripley shifts abruptly when something disturbs him or he gets nervous. Damon portrays his character in a way that it's possible to see the struggle that is happening inside of Tom. And besides having done this amazing job of portraying this troubled young man, he is also demanded to go beyond acting skills, like for example, performing as jazz singer.
Jude Law also does an amazing job portraying Dickie Greenleaf, just as amazing job Matt Damon does with his role. Despite being a more plain and easy character than Matt Damon's Jude Law's role, where he doesn't have the same complexity as Tom Ripley, Law still amazes me on how he plays Greenleaf, making everything very believable. Gwyneth Paltrow's part in the story is also not as complex as Matt Damon's, but it still demands quite an attention to play this character, where in part of the film she is in love and happy, and another part she is depressed and feels abandoned. Her character goes through a lot of things during the movie, and she's very able to portray how a human being would act. Her acting makes the dynamic of the movie not seem fake at all.